Hello all, it's your boy Much Justin here with another rant/explanation video. Except this one is about how pre-ordering games may be linked directly to the downfall of gaming. So without further ado, here we go.
Mario!
As we all know, pre-ordering initially started as a way to guarantee yourself a copy of the latest and greatest AAA shooter or sports game or even your favorite racing game. Once upon a time, stores that sold games would run out of copies of said game due to high volumes of people wanting to buy them on release night. So all the people who didn't get a copy would have to wait until the stores received another shipment of the game, right? Well, I hate to break it to you, but that simply isn't how it works anymore. Our first topic of discussion will be how pre-ordering has changed from when it was first instituted till now. As I stated, pre-ordering used to be a way to make sure you got a copy of your favorite game on release day, but things have changed since then. Distributors send a whole lot more than the number of pre-ordered copies of these games to the sellers because the manager that directs these shipments knows that the company would lose money if they didn't have the product for the customer. It's a simple philosophy called in stock for the customer. It essentially states that a customer would return, sign up for rewards, or tell their friends about the store if they had a pleasant experience. A major part of this experience is that the customer gets what they came in for. This includes games if you're a game retailer. I'll give you an example. I pre-ordered pretty much every major shooter/RPG game that came out in 2015, and I went to all the midnight releases. Do you want to know what I noticed time and time again, however? My friend and I, we always got there right before the party would end because we didn't want to wait in those long-ass lines. And we knew they had our copy because it was pre-ordered. Alas, when I got there and picked up my copy, there was stacks of at least 40 to 60 copies of these games that were unclaimed. I asked the guy behind the desk what they were doing there, and he said that those were copies for customers who didn't pre-order but still wanted to buy the game at the midnight release. I honestly didn't think much of it, and I just left. This ties into the fact that no matter what, the stores won't run out of that day one edition. They're stockpiled with them for people who didn't/don't want to pre-order the games to purchase at a later date. Moral of the story, don't pre-order because you fear that the local GameStop will run out of the game. Because they won't. They have so many extra copies you could come back 3 to 4 days later and still get a day one edition of your favorite game. The next topic is how pre-ordering actually ties in with the shitty game launches or just shitty games in general we are receiving. I want you to think about this very hard. Imagine that since pre-ordering has become mainstream, game quality has gone down. Well, why? It's because all pre-ordering is doing is paying the developers our $60 before we even get to see the game. We are literally giving them money and gambling on whether or not we're going to receive a quality game. It's that simple. Let me put it into another perspective. Let's say you, I, us all, or the consumers are managers at a business, and the developers are our employees. Pre-ordering is like us paying our employees at the beginning of the week in a job where the employees are paid weekly, and hoping what we paid them to do is done correctly. There's not much more to it. It's just us paying them without even testing or seeing our product. It screws us over, especially because developers use this tactic to secure money and sales, so there's less risk of loss when someone doesn't buy their game after it's released. However, people have kind of caught on to this, but every time pre-order numbers get low, they use a very deceiving tactic to boost those numbers. And that tactic is our next topic of discussion. Developers have a fancy-smancy little trick to boost pre-orders when the numbers aren't as high as they want. That tactic is known as Preorder Incentives. Preorder Incentives are little bonus content you can receive for free for pre-ordering these games. Quite honestly, when I planned my pre-order for Halo 5, I shopped around to see which retailer had the best pre-order incentives. But really, are these pre-order incentives worth gambling on the quality of the game? For example, the pre-order incentives for Halo 5 could all be unlocked in-game through the rec system. And as a matter of fact, most pre-order incentives are nothing but cosmetic items, or items that are later released as part of a DLC pack towards the end of the game's lifespan. Why do they do it this way, you may be asking? That's because they've taken all your money and the game hasn't even been released yet. At this point, they could care less about what happens because they're already planning the next year's iteration of the game. However, in cases where they screw up so badly that people start returning the game early on into its lifespan, the developers are losing profit, so they feel the need to fix the game just enough to retain the sales they've lost. All in all, pre-order incentives are just cheap tricks to regain pre-orders the developers have lost. They hold no true value and mean nothing because it's mostly cosmetic items that are given to the players through DLC later on in the game's lifespan, and it provides no real in-game advantage, because that would be a pay-to-win system, and developers know we would crucify them if they tried to pull that stuff on us. As gamers, we're very particular and don't want people ripping us off, even though oddly enough with pre-orders and microtransactions we're allowing them to do it anyways. But I'm happy to say that people are starting to wake up and smell the coffee. That pretty much sums up how pre-ordering is linked directly to the downfall of gaming. All I have to say is a simple call to arms. I know it's tough to turn down the pre-order incentives, but I guarantee you that you won't miss out on anything the game has to offer, and that you won't be denied a copy of the game on release night just because you didn't pre-order it. Not pre-ordering a game will force the developers to actually put effort into a quality, fully rounded, complete, and entertaining game at launch, because they'll have to work to earn our money, instead of us handing it to them without any idea of what we're buying. If you truly love gaming and want to see it improve rather than decline, you'll resist the urge to pre-order a game and speak your voice to others. We must unite as true gamers and demand the complete, functional, and entertaining, non-profit driven product we truly want and desire. My name is Much Justin, and I'll see you in the next video. Tschüss!